Yeah.
And
There's no ball in socket.
there's no ball in socket.
You
and
are
you know.
good to go.
Hey everybody! Welcome to the Team Powerhouse show. It is Tuesday night. We are just about 5 o'clock, give or take a couple minutes. In the hot seat tonight, Mr. Tony Falcone, the man, the myth, the legend, and the most famous artist that Connecticut's ever had, in my opinion especially, and probably yours. Tony Falcone, a man who's done so much for this country, presidents, military, beautiful museums, universities, and so much more. Is that fair to say that?
I like that, yeah.
50 years in the industry.
50 years.
50 years.
Yeah.
That's just unbelievable. Eric Vasquez on your far right, David Lamella here, and we are here on the show to talk about Tony Falcone. Now, Tony was on the show about a couple months ago, right?
In January.
Wow, it's been that long.
I wasn't here for that then.
Yeah, it's right. You weren't here for that show, were you?
I missed that.
You did miss that show. It was a great show. Tony, let's
Could
remind
have been
everybody.
that great. I wasn't here.
Yeah, that's for sure. Let's remind everybody where you're from.
Okay.
You were talking to Tony.
Yeah.
I am from Cheshire. Well, actually, I grew up in Bethany. I live in Cheshire now.
And you've worked in many different places for many different people. Let's highlight a couple of people that you've actually done some work for that people can actually hear now. Oh, somebody out there?
Patrick Pagano said we will miss you tonight.
Pat Pagano and David Lamelle are at the New York Yankees game tonight. They are letting me know that they are watching, which is great, or listening, as you're commuting
I don't
to
understand
that
the part
game.
where they said they're going to miss you. That's the part I'm trying to wrap my head around.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for being a part of the show, watching and listening. You guys are out there watching and listening. If you have any questions for Mr. Tony Falcone, please do not hesitate to reach out. He's here. And if we miss you on the live show, make sure to text us, and he will get back to you later on. Right?
There you go.
There's Tony Falcone's information out there on social media for people to see Mr. Thing. It is beautiful. Eric Vasquez was not here last time.
You really
and
missed it.
He might have a few more questions for you that, kind of about a little more about you. So you've done a lot of work for a lot of great and memorable people. From you did some presidents. I think you did a piece for Barack.
It was a portrait of Barack Obama, and it was done actually I did it to contribute to a fundraiser for the New Haven Scholarship Fund. And we unveiled that they had a major auction at the Omni Hotel, and it was on his inauguration night. And it raised quite a bit of money, and which is nice. And then someone said, you really should send him that picture. So we had copies made, really nice limited prints. We mailed him, actually didn't mail to him. A friend of mine who was a science advisor says, I can give it to him.
How crazy is that?
So he did, and I thought this was all amazing. And then I go to the mailbox, and there's this beautiful letter from the president saying, thank you for your generosity. And
It's pretty cool stuff.
So you give him a print?
yeah,
The original.
yeah, but the original
Oh,
song.
I know that. I didn't know if you recreated it or something, or you gave him a print.
We gave him a nice framed print. I even put a nice letter together saying, because this is when he had already been president.
He gets a
for
secondary
2 terms.
version because the original was sold already.
Yeah, he missed out. He wasn't at the inauguration in New Haven.
But you've also done a lot of military. You've done for the National Guard, Coast Guard. Thank you. Right,
Yes.
Coast Guard Academy.
Yes.
You did some very famous people over there. You did a bunch of different. Can you kind of mention to everybody?
Sure, I'd be happy to. First of all, I've been commissioned to do the history of the U.S. Coast Guard, and they asked me to do the history from 1940 to 2001,
Wow.
which culminated in 9/11. And the paintings are all measuring like 9 feet high by 11 feet.
Wow.
Some of them were 7 feet wide. And I designed a reading room for them to accommodate up to 14 of these big paintings. Just recently, we started talking about another anniversary, which was D-Day, and a lot of people don't realize that the Coast Guard landed all our troops on Omaha Beach. Coast Guard has done amazing things. So the Coast Guard's been an awesome patron. I ended up thinking, well, this mural project is just an incredible project. Then they would commission a portrait of Vice Admiral Sandra Stowe's, first woman to run a service academy. And that was pretty exciting. Then I created a mural for one of the, they have an alumni center, which is an awesome building.
Yeah.
And I did a mural titled Cadet's Journey, and it's really neat because it's showing what it's like to show up as a kind of a new recruit, and then how you would actually, along the way, you could possibly become admiral. So that's a good mural. And then I get this email one day, and it's from the class of '64, and they're saying to me, "We love your work here. Would you please do a bronze sculpture of Otto Graham, who was their hero?"
Wow.
So he's an NFL Hall of Famer. He quit pro football, and then they asked him to coach their team, and he ended up being made a full captain, and he coached their team. And
I don't know why he's pointing at me. I
I'm
I
pointing
wasn't
at
in the
Eric,
Coast Guard, I was in the Marine Corps.
He was a Marine, he is a Marine, and but he's very knowledgeable in football, so when you mentioned the Navy kind of.
you know Otto Graham?
Yes,
Yeah.
I know.
So he's like the Tom Brady of his day.
Yeah.
So when I get this email saying we want you to do this sculpture, I was like really flattered and said, I would love to do this. I mean, but I have nothing to show you. I never sculpted.
Right.
That's
And
pretty
here's
cool.
their reaction. You'll be fine.
You'll be fine.
You'll be fine. Just go ahead and we'll commission you to do this bronze sculpture.
So you did it?
So I did it.
Bronze?
And yeah.
Okay.
So it was an amazing thing because I always wanted to be a sculptor. And that was one of the highlights of working with them. Doing all these paintings was amazing, but then being asked to do this bronze sculpture just was incredible.
Now, Tony was also a fireman before he was an artist, technically speaking, or kind of mutually at the same time.
And then he set fire to the art world.
As a matter of fact,
It inflamed me with a desire.
one of the things I remember hearing about you the last time you were on the show was you did a big piece in the fire station in New Haven, is that right? There's a piece at the
That's right.
fire station
While I was a fireman.
while you were a fireman, and I heard that this piece is something to be seen.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool stuff.
Well, I did 2 fire department paintings. While I was a fireman, I was in the oldest firehouse in the city. And then there was plans to build this brand new fire station on Dixwell and Gulf Street. I'm sorry, on Gulf and Webster Street. I was on Dixwell. So I looked at some of the plans. I happened to sneak over there, and there was a beautiful building, and it had this huge wall that was just going to be blank in the recreation room. So I made a pitch to the chief, and he said, well, as long as it doesn't cost me anything. So I had to do it, and I painted these 3 life-size horses charging right at you, pulling one of those brass steam engines from like 1910. And then I ended up getting stationed there. And people would walk in and go, who painted that? And they, my buddies would go, yeah, he's sitting over there. What do you do in a fireman if you paint like that? And it was one of those classic lines that, you're right, I really want to paint full time.
So now that would be classified as a mural though, right?
Yeah, directly on the wall.
Directly on the wall, okay.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah. So that was done in 1975 while I was still a fireman. And then I had to figure out a way to be a full-time artist, and
then you did
Starving artist.
Hold on, and then
Is it the phrase starving artist?
I wanted to figure out how not to be a starving artist, but that phrase is pretty strong.
And then he went to Teletrack. He did the largest mural probably in New Haven that everybody passes by on 95 with the horses on that building
Right.
that you created 1 square at a time, right? Because we talked about this, you graphed out the whole thing by numbers and letters, and you did this whole thing,
Yep.
and did the most amazing mural of horses that there's not a person who goes on 95 that has never seen that mural.
So did he post a picture of it last time or?
We definitely did last time. I'm not sure if Danny's got anything up there that he's posting now as we're talking to our friend over here, Mr. Tony Falcone. Anything you're posting up there at all? Yeah? So right now you're probably seeing some pictures. I'm not sure what they are yet,
Okay.
what he's posting up there, but you know what you gave him for photos. Dave, do you want to,
The mural of the horses.
the horse mural right there, okay.
The one on the teletrack,
I can't see.
On
it,
the-
so
yeah.
Serves no
the
purpose.
round building.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's it.
It's amazing what he's done and what he hasn't done yet, because there's a lot more going to happen, which is why you're here today.
Yeah.
50 years in the making, it's what's it called? 50 years is what do they call it? Is that the century? No.
Half century.
half century?
Half century.
Golden. It's
Gold- the
50s
golden,
gold.
the golden years.
Yeah.
He's in his golden years and he's just getting started because we have a big event happening in Cheshire. As many of you all know, and if you don't know, you're gonna find out right now,
There you go.
happening at the Ball and Socket.
Yes.
Now, the Ball and Socket has been completely changed, right? And the whole
Yes.
place has been, Eric's saying no.
I would say not completely.
It's a work in progress.
Thank you.
It's a work in progress to be completely changed.
Yeah.
Taking a building that hadn't been used for years, sat there and you drove by, and you saw this old warehouse building. And I really don't know all the details of it, Eric, you might know better than I do, but basically a lot of people got together in town and said, we need to save this building and make it a place that people come to.
Yeah, I could offer a couple of things about that. It started out as a button factory during like Civil War era. It evolved into making more things, ball, socket, and other parts. And it was pretty, I think it was busy for quite a few years, right? Until like maybe the 60s or 70s. Eventually they closed the factory. But it had grown in size from when it was first built to now it's like a complex of these wonderful buildings. And several people that had graduated from Cheshire High School thought about this factory while they drive by and whatnot, and they said something has to be done with that. And they were all artists. And one was Alona Samoji, Kevin Daly, and Jeff Gimond. And the three of them said, let's buy this building, let's figure out a way, and they did. They got the funding, and their vision was to create an art center, a destination place where people could go for all the arts, for theater, for painting, and sculpture, and art lessons. And so that happened almost 10 years ago.
Wow.
They had the vision to do it, and at this point in time, it's operating as, there's a workshop gallery, it's called, and that's where I'm having my show right now of work until June 23rd.
So let's talk about this most important detail.
Cool.
Your show, you, Mr. Tony Falcone, the legend and artist in Connecticut. What's going on?
Holy mackerel.
How many pieces are on display there?
Let's see, I would say there's about 29 pieces
Wow.
that are numbered, not necessarily like you go into a gallery and you see a painting frame, piece number 1, painting frame, piece number 2, or a sculpture. I decided to change it up a little because I'm not specifically a gallery artist. I do show my work in galleries once in a while when I kind of have a painting that I've done in between commission work, because I'm primarily a commission artist. And that means that most of the paintings are owned already. So what I decided to do is take all the work that I have that I've kept for myself, but bring it into the gallery and show it as though it's the inside of my studio. So if you were in my studio, which is in a barn in Prospect, Connecticut,
Yes.
there's things like this really neat bamboo style cabinet, and I'm really into surfing, so I have my surfboards. And then I had thought, gee, why don't I just do, because it's a 50-year kind of kickoff for my celebration this year, I have this 4x8 cork board, like bulletin board, and we put that on one wall and just put about, I don't know, like 300 photos, just
Wow.
a montage of what I've done over the past 50 years, so you could kind of get the idea of the variety of stuff. And then I'd have...
So we can find some sex wax in your,
Yeah, there
in
you
your
go.
studio? Okay.
Yeah, well, who is the
Sex
person?
wax.
Sex
Yes.
wax.
Remember
yeah.
sex wax?
Absolutely.
Mr. Surfboards?
It's Mrs.
Yes.
such, I forget her name, Mrs. such and such, sex wax. So I have like 2 9-foot octagon paintings in there that are environmental statements from the 70s.
I'm surprised you didn't paint the surfboard.
I was just gonna say, have you done any surfing?
No, I think so.
Using the
about-
surfboard as your canvas.
I 100%.
I do want to do that, but I never
Tony.
got to it. I just-
Tony,
Tony
you need
Laird.
to- Yeah.
Is it Tony Laird?
Oh,
Was it
you
Tony
mean Laird Hamilton?
Laird Hamilton. Yeah,
Yeah.
Laird Hamilton. So like just on a surfboard,
Yeah.
painting of Laird Hamilton, just riding the
Give
glass,
his
you know,
portraits.
just
Well, my hero was Greg
Shredding.
Knoll. Greg Knoll was the guy who actually broke into Waimea Bay before anybody else really did.
Mhm.
I am with
Like the
100% on Eric's page. You definitely.
Dave's gonna commission you
We're
to
gonna
do
do
that.
this.
You definitely should have a surf theme because it's something you're passionate about. You love it, you love the water, the outdoors, that is your element. And you definitely should have a whole beachy, Hawaii, California, southern Florida, whatever you want to call it, there were the waves and the surfing. And I think it's a fantastic idea.
If you were in the studio, that's kind of what it's like. It's all tikied out a little. But you know what I always wanted to do is to travel around to some of the signature waves around the world, Bonsai Pipeline,
Mhm.
Chopu and Fiji, and there's so many classic waves, and do portraits of those waves with some amazing people on them. That never happened.
You know what, you're putting it together, right?
I was just gonna say, you could have like, like a Mount Rushmore, but instead of surfers, you could put presidents on waves.
Ooh, that's
Presidents
pretty
riding
cool
away.
Your
idea.
favorite for presidents.
Or you could do even your favorite surfers, you could do, that's interesting too. But that would be a really cool portrait, and you know what, it would have a lot of, it would have humor, it would have fun, it would have a timepiece of whatever you made it, but I definitely think you should do
So
some.
give me an idea of your vision. You'd have like a Biden hanging 10 or what? Or maybe a cheater
Two.
5. How
I don't
about-
think he can hang 10 anymore.
He'll do a cheater 5, where you kind of.
No, I see him more as a boogie board, not a.
Okay, yeah,
That's actually,
that's
that would actually be funny, he would be on the boogie board.
He'd paddle
Yeah.
backwards.
Or you could
Be
have
paddling
Trump,
backwards.
Trump and Biden on boogie boards fighting for a wave, you know.
Oh my God, yeah, but I think
Oh, I
that,
like that idea,
I
though.
think that you definitely should do some water theme, beach themes, because your passion, you love that surfing thing. But I think that people would love to watch it and see it also, you know what I mean? But
Well-
even still, it could be the famous surfers you know. What if you even had again, I don't know surfers very well myself, but you could even do like a Baywatch version of David Hasselhoff.
Right.
And like the Baywatch girls, you know what I mean? Like a theme. You could do so many, you could do Team
Dave's jumping the
Powerhouse.
shark now.
You
Dave's
could
totally jumping the shark.
hold on a second.
Yeah.
You could totally do a Team Powerhouse. I'm just saying hypothetically, beach theme.
Not surfing.
Not
I don't know how many folks on,
Oh, I like
I don't know
that.
how many folks have actually, on the team, have actually been on board, so.
I would probably guess, if I could guess,
You know,
zero.
you could do like the Beach
Oh, sure.
Boys. We could do an album cover for you,
Did he-
where you're all holding a surfboard, but none of
He
you
just
ever,
asked me if
the
I'd
Beach
been
Boys
on
never
board.
surf. So you could all hold a
Have you ever,
surfboard.
hold on, have you ever been on a surfboard before?
Yes. Dude, I was stationed in California.
Oh, nice.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
So maybe Eric's on the surfboard and we're all around him, kind of with that.
And I went to the Far East, remember?
That's true, yes.
So, I mean, it didn't have the killer waves, but, you know, it was fun.
So let's go back to the ball and socket over here for a
Yes.
couple minutes, because that's kind of what we're here to talk about. So the ball and socket's having a huge event. When is the event happening? What's happening? Who's gonna be there? What are the days it's gonna be happening? You know, music, food, I have no idea.
But what is this an opening for? This is
Okay,
for that art studio?
so, to start with, the opening I'd like to promote is the opening of my show, which was last Friday. So we've had the opening, but what's coming up is this Saturday, June 8th, I'm going to be doing an artist talk. This is
Very
something that anybody that wants to know about art, wants to know how to be an artist, also, you know, question and answer. I'm going to demonstrate, like for instance, I'll be bringing down some maquettes of how I do these giant murals. So it'll be like a fun time on Saturday, June 8th at 3 o'clock.
Saturday, June 8th, you wanna make sure you get to the ball and socket in Cheshire. What's the address of the ball and socket?
So I think it's 493 West Main Street
Okay.
in Cheshire.
You'll know when you're there because you'll see a lot of people standing there at Claude's Ice Cream, Sweet Claude's.
That's right.
They might be also walking to a very well-known pizza place now. There's actually, Cheshire's got a lot of pizza. So you have, of course, Rosini's, but the one that Dave Portnoy went
Pops
to.
still there?
Pops is right there across the street.
Yeah.
How many, 3 pizza joints on one street
They got-
within a
is it
block?
Pronounced Fuco?
Fuco Pizza, which Dave Portnoy gave like an 8.4, something like that. I mean, great pizza place also.
That's right in that,
I mean, you know, ice cream, 3 different places. Pizza, you got liquor stores for sure, Cheshire on every 10 feet.
China Dragons across the street.
China Dragon,
Yeah,
Chinese
that's a
food,
good place.
you got coffee shops. I mean, what a great place to be. And
And the trail, so you can walk off everything you just ate.
Exactly. Farmington Canal.
That's right,
It's right.
the canal now has an entrance right into the ball.
That's actually a really good,
parking lot.
really good point you made. The Farmington Canal is right in there,
Yeah.
right to the ball and tap. So if you're coming from New Haven, Hamden, Southington, and you try to take a bike ride or a walk or a skateboard,
Rollerblades or,
yeah,
yeah.
that's actually, so it's Saturday, June 8th, which is this Saturday.
Yeah.
What time
3
is it?
o'clock.
3 o'clock. It's gonna be on for a couple hours, I'm sure. But it's gonna be a lot of things happening.
Yeah, but if it's hopping, he'll stick around.
Yeah.
Very
Like
cool
the opening was really well received. We had a lot of people. I don't think we left there till 8 o'clock.
Wow.
And I think if you're looking for something different, this is a neat kind of show. But I think there's an importance that I want to point out, and that is that some of the works are like, there's some fantasy, there's some traditional things. There's pretty much something for everybody, I think, in the kind of work I do, because being a commissioned artist, I like the variety. You know, doing a sculpture, actually Otto Graham is there, his clay original that I made
Really?
the cast from, I decided to bring that down, so he's there.
So now, I was not here for the first time you were on, so are they oils?
There's every medium. I do pastel, oil, acrylic,
Okay.
watercolor. I think it's hard to show everything, and one of the reasons is because 50 years, I have so many things I've done that I decided to show my environmental 9-foot paintings of New Earth and New Leaf, they're called. And they were done in the 70s, and they're more valid today than they were in the 70s about using natural power to kind of save the earth. So I think those would be worth looking at. Then there's these fantasy things that I came up with that aren't so fantasy. It's all about, I call it Le Bon Voyage, and it's a journey where I look at this sailboat that I've depicted cruising across the galaxy as a metaphor for the Earth, and outer space is a vast ocean. So we're kind of, I'm
That's pretty
looking
cool.
at the fact that let's get along.
Is that,
with this.
is that an actual piece you just described? Because I'm visualizing this boat and like.
Yeah, that's the piece that you were talking about.
That's pretty
kind of-
cool.
Yeah.
La Bon Voyage.
Yeah, it's a story I'm putting together, and another thing that I really want to start putting together, it's in my mind now, and I kind of see all the paintings, is called the New Mythology. And it's, you know, the old mythology is Roman and Greek gods, and those were forever, like thousands of years. But the new mythology, I want to like bring respect and honor to sustainable living, like farmers being the gods of our time. Like in the future, water might be worth more than gold. You know, because things are changing so fast in the environment. So I think we have to start looking at this new mythology that we better start learning how to protect.
I think we can all agree about the
God
water.
of water. Don't say Aquaman. It's not Aquaman.
You know what, I'm gonna tell you, my mythology's not great. I was definitely not a great mythology person specifically, but regarding the,
No, I was just gonna say, I wasn't here for the first time you were on, so I'm playing a little bit of a game of catch up here. What is your signature piece, or what piece that you've done are you most proud of? Or is your like, this is my Mona Lisa, so to
Oh, I
say?
like that question.
Oh, yeah, like the magnum opus kind of thing. I don't think I've achieved that yet. That's what keeps me
So you
going.
haven't achieved Zen yet?
Yeah,
Okay.
I strive for it. And like the last painting I did, I've done a lot of cityscapes of New Haven.
Yeah,
And
a lot of things in
in
Yale
Yale
also,
and New
yeah.
Haven, and I do limited prints of them, and they're really popular. But I just did a painting a few years ago called New Heaven.
And I saw that in your place over there, right? And I saw that at your studio
Yeah.
last time, where you have like, and I'm sorry, tell me what the new heaven is, I'm sorry. It's actually pretty cool.
It's all, I love aerial perspectives. There's something about that, that I like doing scenes that people don't normally see. You know, like I've seen a lot of paintings of like,
Is that on the picture by
you
the
know,
chance?
buildings from like.
What
street level.
exactly?
So I like to get aerial perspectives.
Do you have that photo by chance given to Fan about the new heaven?
New Heaven?
Did you say
It's
that?
the one where it's a cityscape with a bubble over it. It looks like a dome or a
It
bubble.
looks like you're looking at an atlas or a map, and on this map you see these different like
A
bubbles.
map or a globe, like snow globe?
Well, it's
Well, this is the green.
Flat.
It's the New Haven green, and the bubble is like this imaginary bubble that just all of a sudden manifested itself. And I kind of put it there because I've done so many cityscapes, and I love doing it because the architecture is so cool.
The
But there's something
detail.
about changing it up a little with this bubble because at the time I was painting it, there was this big discussion about sanctuary cities. Oh, it's a good thing, it's a bad thing, it's a good thing. And my thought was, if New Haven is as great as I believe it is, it's an open city. It's got an open heart, and I wanted the dome over it to say it's inviting in a magical place. I didn't want it to be another just cityscape.
I thought it to be very environmental, specifically the way it looks at the clouds, the sky. And I thought about the water and the ocean, and then you brought back together about the whole clean water and the value of water. Like,
So I was just gonna say, this is
Yeah.
where, like, when you see a piece, and I'm gonna talk to the interpretive side of art. So
Right.
when you see a piece, 5 different people can look at a piece and see 5 different things,
Right.
5 different visions,
and
you know?
enjoy it.
And I see this dome as though, like, you're taking this dome and you're just protecting New Haven. You know what I'm saying?
Good idea.
That's where I'm envisioning. So like, I'm trying to envision the piece, and you have this dome bubble over New Haven, you're trying to protect New Haven.
Well, that's a good take on the subject of domes, because I started doing these domes a long time ago. I did a portrait of City Hall, and it was a Henry Austin architectural masterpiece. I just love this building. So I put a dome over it, and I did an etching of it. My first etching came out really beautiful, and I started thinking, I want to do all the buildings I love with domes over them to protect them, like you were saying. And not protect them, that doesn't have to have a physical dome, but there's something about the idea that we preserve older buildings because they're so beautiful. And maybe it was the fact that, Judy and I bought this 18th century house years ago, and I love preserving. I hate seeing things knocked down and in box stores and kind of cheap construction in place of something. If they just restored it, it would be around another 200
I
years.
grew up in New York, and spent a lot of time in Manhattan. I know the Gothic. It's just,
Yeah,
you can't touch it.
yeah.
You can't touch it. I
And
love
part
the
of
Gothic
Slowview
style,
and
yeah.
some of those buildings. And so that's kind of like where those domes started, I think.
Can I
And
just,
then New Earth and New Leaf. New Earth has a solar power dome city.
oh wow.
So that was in the 1970s when I wanted to basically think about domes also bringing in solar power, that we could get passive and
I think the fact that you have,
so lot.
yeah, the fact that you have such a vision and you've got so much history behind you and so many ways you can kind of create different visions. You can create a whole world of this new era, if you will. And you mentioned what did you say before? Not God, but like the water, how powerful it is, and the element, the value. I mean, you could do something again all through Cheshire. I mean, being a Cheshireite, if you will, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And preserving, you could actually do the ball, have you done the ball and sake yet as a mural?
I haven't done a mural yet. We've been talking about possibly doing a mural there.
I think it'd be a cool idea. I definitely, I mean, at the outside of the building, like, really making a showstopper, people driving by, you might cause an accident.
Well, I've been talking to them because honestly, I think one of the buildings could really use a mural. And I'm using this material that's potassium silicate, so it literally petrifies to the surface. And it'll never peel, it won't fade, and it's fabulous stuff.
I don't know,
Ball
I
and
like the brick.
socket, what's that?
I like the brick.
Ball and
I don't
socket,
know.
Ball and socket,
Oh, yeah.
June 8th, 3 p.m. Tony Falcone is gonna be there to, first I'm gonna get a chance to meet him, shake his hand, say hello. He's such a great guy, such a chill dude, total surfer.
Well, dude is
vibe,
the right vibe.
Right?
Yeah, right.
Total, very surfer.
Chill dude.
Yeah, I mean, like, you're just gonna learn a lot, have a chance to meet somebody, ask him some
Spicoli.
questions about art. What's that?
Jeff Spicoli.
Jeff Spicoli?
Remember Jeff Spicoli?
I know the name, I couldn't.
Oh my God, who was he from? He was from like,
Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Oh,
Thank
Sean
you.
Penn character.
Yes.
thank you, that's right.
Hold on, Eric is a guy who knows characters and lines from movies. He's infamous for that.
Basically, Dave says I have a lot of useless information.
No, basically, David
That's
said
important
this guy
information
is-
for people that are nostalgic. I
No,
get
he's
it.
Very
very,
nostalgic.
very knowledgeable in film and history of different, and then lines and things that happen.
Before we wrap up, make
Yes.
sure you get that last question in.
All right.
And also,
I wish
if I could interrupt for a
Yes.
second, my show runs till the 23rd of June.
So from June 8th to June 23rd,
Oh, plenty of time to come back.
right? Is it 5 days a
And
week,
it's
7 days a
open
week?
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. 4 to 7 is generally their open hours, or you could Google them and see if there's any special times that they're open besides that.
Awesome.
But that's generally when they're open.
People should know what it means to be a commissioned artist. Can you just give us a simple explanation what that means to the public there? You
Sure.
want to commission, you want to hire an artist to
Right.
do some art.
Right.
That would be what like a commissioned artist is.
Yeah, like for instance, there's a wonderful place called the Saybrook Resort
Yeah.
in Marina
Yeah.
in Old Saybrook. And they say, gee, we're gonna open up a lounge, can you help us out? We need to have,
That's a while
we
ago.
want you to theme it out, we're gonna talk about what is important. And they're really awesome people because as a patron, they also wanted to do something to preserve the history of Old Saybrook. And being that I love history, being that I love to design everything original, we came up with a concept which we called it the Choo Choo Lounge.
Cool.
So I designed a logo that's really cool, you have to see it. And then in there was a mural of an actual train that used to come from Hartford to Old Saybrook, and they had to turn it around on a round table because they didn't have like a major train operations going back then. So they have a roundhouse that used to be there. So right outside the Saybrook Resort, there's the foundations to this roundhouse where you can see the tracks. And
Does it
then-
still rotate?
Well, the house is gone and the part that turns it is gone. It's just where the house was now and the tracks. I think there's 6 pairs of tracks. So I went to Willimantic and found this roundhouse that actually still exists.
Yeah.
And used it as a model. And then I did a painting of a roundhouse for the lounge. I did a painting of a famous parlor car with very interesting people in this parlor car that were kind of connected to Old Saybrook. There's the mural, and then there's also other paintings there that I've done. I was commissioned by, we're talking about commission work, so they've commissioned that, meaning they would ask me, could I come up with a concept of what I think goes here? So that's how we start. It'll just be a sketch. Maybe it'll be like a little thumbnail, and then that'll start us brainstorming about, gee, I like that, but could we do this? And then we create like a plan on how to do drawings, paintings, color studies. So I involve everybody as a team. I don't go back to the studio, do something and say, okay, here's your paintings. I love the collaboration. And then that's what makes them pretty successful because like with the Coast Guard, here I was working with the military to do 10 10-foot canvases. And you don't want to just run into issues because we have committees and a lot of people have to weigh in on stuff like
When I
that.
hear commissioned painter, I automatically assume that it's somebody who's like, I want a portrait done, you know?
Thank
So,
you, that's right.
and that's automatically, I'm just commissioned somebody to do my portrait,
Yeah.
you know, so.
Well, I wanted to actually add that to it because I don't think it's.
But that's what you did for Obama, right? For the.
No, I volunteered that one because I wanted people to see me
Okay.
as a portrait painter. So Judy, who's my wife and manager, and she's like the glue. She has a vision for me.
Big shout out to Judy, who hopefully is watching with her on YouTube today.
Judy, you are
is
my true
rock.
my compass. You are everything.
Your muse.
And yes, my muse. And she said you should do a lot of portraits because portraits, you're good with people and you do a good portrait when I do them. So when you're doing a commissioned portrait, I didn't want to say, well, I just do a resort for big paintings for businesses or work for the Coast Guard. You know, I like doing just dog portraits. I mean, I love every kind of portrait. I just, finished a portrait of a CEO for Yale New Haven Hospital. Then I would do a family portrait with like a woman who wanted to have all her grandchildren done and her husband in a painting.
So if you're out there and you're watching and you would like to get a gift that keeps on giving long-term, that might be a great idea for a Father's Day gift. It could be a birthday, it could be an anniversary.
Not cheap, I'm sure.
But you know what, it might be something that you give for a very special occasion to a family member that would be so proud and so grateful to have it. Maybe you have a large family and you would like to get a portrait done of your family that they present you as a photo. You wouldn't have to sit there for the portrait, you get a photo and then you do it, right? Because obviously, or
Yeah,
something.
we'll do a photo session and then we'll do drawings while we're doing that, so we get the whole thing started with like a direction, composition. Then we could start with, I usually love charcoal so much, and I do charcoal portraits. They don't have to be just like an oil portrait, charcoal and pastel. But I love to do a,
Grease too or no?
I'm sorry?
Grease pencil?
No, I
Aaron,
use just
look at you,
regular,
Aaron.
I use regular dry pastels, chalks.
I don't want to get too deep into, I mean, listen, we could talk for hours with Tony about different kind of things.
Oh, yeah, I was
he
just
does.
gonna ask him
Yeah.
about abstract
I
and
mean,
stuff, so.
But
mean,
I would rather
I could go for a while.
let's do this, let's set Tony to come back up again, maybe midsummer,
Sure.
as to what's going on at the ball and socket, how things are going.
Yep.
Because most important thing is for us to make sure that everybody knows about the ball and socket event
Yeah.
that started already, right? And you're gonna be from Saturday, June 8th till June
23rd.
23rd,
Yep.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Saturday, Sunday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from what time? 12?
4 to 7.
4 to 7. All right. We got June 8th to the 23rd from 4 to 7, Friday, Saturday, and Sundays.
Yep.
Tony Falcone, Ball and Socket in Cheshire. Address again.
And the talk is June 8th at 3 o'clock, so don't miss that. And the address is West Main Street. I think it's 493 West Main Street. The Ball and Socket. Please support the Ball and Socket, by the way. I'm going to do one of those little promos for them. They are awesome. Their vision is great. They're going to create something that is going to make Cheshire really, really terrific, especially being that the arts are so terrific. So,
And I think that we're going to try and push for you to get a mural done on that Ball and Socket. We're going to throw a vote out
Nice.
there in the town of Cheshire, and we will support you. We want to thank you so much for being on the show tonight, buddy. It flies by with you. There's so much to talk
The
about.
last question.
Do you have plans of celebrating 50 years?
Oh, good question. Yes. Again, going back to my Jedi Master Judy, she is like planning a Falcone Art Trail.
Oh,
So what happens is we've had these wonderful patrons like the Coast Guard I talked about, Saybrook Resort, Albertus Magnus College has a big collection of my artwork. I've done a portrait of the president of
Wow.
Albertus, and there's 3 murals there. So we're planning a business after hours with Albertus Magnus, and that'll be like where we can do tours of the artwork while we're there. The Coast Guard is in September 29th, so we'll be sending out some kind of announcements so that people, the Coast Guard community is already there, but anybody can come to this, and that's gonna, there's so many things there to see that I've done over the years. And then Old Saybrook, the Saybrook Resort, we started just talking with them, and hopefully they're gonna do that too.
I think they'll be really lucky to have you. Tony Falcone, Cheshire's own, a man, a legend, a guy that you get to meet and know and enjoy his company, learn a lot. Don't miss Tony Falcone this weekend, June 8th, 3 o'clock.
Right.
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Be there or be square.
Be there, be square. I want to thank you so much for joining us today, Tony. We go to the next part of our show where we give out a free tumbler giveaway to a lucky winner, and Thane's going to spin that wheel for us.
Oh, can I say something? Oh, I didn't. mean to do that.
Absolutely. No, you can definitely say something.
Just a little special fun thing. At the opening, I did a painting before the opening of a portrait of Ball and Socket, but it has something magical going on in the sky, and it's a really cool painting. So Judy and I decided to make a print of that. And at the opening, we had a drawing, and whoever's name was pulled won a really beautiful signed print of this. So at the artist talk, we have a second one we decided to also give away.
So, well,
Limited edition autograph print? Come on.
And on Saturday, it's gonna be there.
it's gonna
Your
be
name can be
another
pulled
option.
out of that bowl.
Okay.
All right, so
But
Saturday.
you gotta be there to
Do
win.
not miss
That's right.
this event. Again, Tony Falcone, thank you so much.
Thank you.
No, thank you, buddy. Tony,
Thank you.
they're watching this wheel getting ready to spin there, and their toe is waiting for it to happen. You know, I can.
On the edge of your seat.
Someone just threw something out from the computer over there, hit me in the, All right, let's see who's gonna be the winner.
QB2486-1008
Wow.
off TikTok.
All right, QB on TikTok, thank you so much for being part of the show. You are the winner. Get in touch with us so we can get him this free tumbler, or her. And
Nice.
what an amazing opportunity to get a free tumbler, right? I mean, why not?
I'm using it, I love it.
Right? Great for cold, great for hot, great for everything.
I've been using it almost every day, I
Love
love
it.
it.
Have a wonderful day, everybody. We'll see you next week, and thank you so much for being part of our show.
Congratulations, Shannon.
Congratulations to Shannon St. Germain for getting her wings. She is
Pilot
now
license.
able to cause fear.
And her passengers.
Soon to be taking out the team on a flying excursion.